Hi guys. Not gonna make you do the thing like, hi guys! No, I'm not gonna make you do that, so don't. Some of you might recognize me from last StorySlam. Thanks. Hold your applause. Or I can accept it now because this one might not be as good. Basically, to summarize, last week I told a story about a time when I was on mushrooms. For those of you guys who weren't there, you missed out. For those of you that were, I'll let you know that I had a bit of self-reflection since I told that story, and I sort of thought, I'm so glad that story is 7 years in my past, and it's no longer part of who I am. Well, this past Thursday I actually blacked out from drinking too much, and I realized I now have a new story to tell. I thought at the time maybe 7 years from now, but apparently 2 days from now. I'll tell that story briefly, actually. I'm going to tell as many stories as I can within the 7 minutes allotted.
Hold the mic back.
It's really loud. It's really loud.
Here, okay? Here? Too much? Anyway, I had a bit too much to drink, and basically tried to leave a club, and fell off my bike as soon as I tried to leave. And I recruited the help of two datim, religious guys, and said to them, and this is, by the way, what they told me I said to them. I don't remember saying this to them. They said to me that I said to them, you need to take me home, and you need to put my bicycle in your car and take me home. And flash forward to I wake up in my bed and I open my eyes, and the first thing I think is thank God I'm in my bed somehow, and I'm looking at my bicycle. And I walked out and I spoke to my roommate, and he was like, what were two religious guys doing in our apartment at 3 a.m. last night? And I was like, hey, I would love it if you could explain that to me. and so, of course, we sorted it out. He had gotten the guys' phone numbers, as he knew I would like to apologize to them and clarify what happened. All this is to say, well, I'll tell one additional part, which is that on the way here I was catching up with my father a bit, who's now in the wrath of Hurricane Sandy. And I was basically saying, yeah, I'm going to this event called StorySlam. The last time I told this story about, the story that he knows about when I was on mushrooms in high school. And I said, the theme was a matter of chance. And I sort of tied it into this thing at the end, and it wasn't totally related to a matter of chance, but it worked. And I said, tonight's theme is scared shitless. And can you think of, he's my dad, he knows a lot of what's happening in my life. Can you think of any stories where I was scared shitless? And he, of course, says to me, yeah, the time you were on mushrooms. And so I didn't have that story, obviously, again tonight. The point is, before I get into the actual story that I have, which is again related to substance abuse, that it gave me some perspective and about telling stories, how you're sort of forced to reflect on the difference between things that you know in life, or things that you maybe know for sure, lessons that you've learned, and sometimes you have to learn these lessons more than once. It's one thing to know something, and another thing to actually then enforce it in your life. And now I'll start the story. After that long introduction, the story will be about half that time. Okay, so I'm in high school. I was 17, and I was going to the beach with some friends. My parents had a house there, and basically, the field hockey team from my high school was also, coincidentally, going to the same beach. And so we were pretty excited about this, obviously. And they wouldn't tell us, they were being the sort of dicey teenage girls that teenage girls can be. And they wouldn't tell us exactly where they were, but it was a small beach town, so we figured we'd drive around and figure out where they were at. So we drove around, saw the bumper stickers that said, proud alumni of our high school. And we decided, okay, let's not blow this right away. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. We wanted to do something good. So we went home, we went back to where my friend was staying, and decided to drink and smoke a bit of weed and all this fun stuff that high schoolers do, some high schoolers anyway. And we were like, all right, what's our plan? So we're gonna water balloon them. This is our, anytime I think man, I never had the high school experience that this guy in the movies had. I think back to this time that I wanted to water balloon the field hockey team at the beach, and I'm like, okay, no, I actually did have the most cliche high school experience imaginable. So we went to fill up the water balloons. We've been drinking and smoking all night, and we go and drive up to the house, and my friend had borrowed a security guard uniform from the security guard in his building. I don't know how that has ever happened, but it did. And so we go to their house, and we're getting ready to water balloon them. And he's on his next cell. I don't know if anybody remembers next cell, but it's like beep beep walkie-talkie, and he's like, okay, coast is clear, and we're like, being all serious about it. This is like, I by the way, after having war stories told, I'm sitting here like, how am I gonna really tell this story as if it was anything had to do with anything being scared? Because this is, I can't relate. And I respect you guys for that, and maybe one day I will. But in the meantime, anyway, so he's on his next cell, and he says, okay, beep beep, coast is clear. And so we're coming in with our cooler full of water balloons. And we go, and the coach, like an old man, in this cliche kind of way, like an old man comes out, like had seen us, and he was like, get off my lawn, like this kind of thing, and chased us away, the coach. And so we're like, all right, so we run away like scared little kids instead of realizing that there were 4 of us and 1 of him, and we could have just come in and thrown the water balloons anyway. And as we leave, so we get in the car, we leave, we're driving down the highway. For some reason, the doors on the car, they wouldn't shut. So there's 2 of us in the back in this 2-door car holding the doors shut from the back seat. And then the rest of us in the front like, oh my God, like, we're such pussies, we should go back. And so we turn around and we go back. And we're like, we're going to get him this time. And we go back, and there's a cop car in front of the house already at 8 o'clock in the morning. And my friend like panics immediately. He like squeals wheels, because the worst thing at this point is to get in trouble with the law when you're 17 or whatever. And he squeals wheels out, and the cop hears us, runs to her car, and starts chasing after us. We went down a dead end and lost her, and then we dumped beer in this little pond that was like just there, whatever. And we dumped the beer, and she drives past, and we're like, oh my God, get on the freeway, go, go, go. And he goes on the freeway, and he goes through one light where I was like, turn left, and he goes straight. And I contend to this day that had he gone left, we'd never have gotten into trouble, but he goes straight. And a cop car from the other side cuts across the median, this huge wide grass median of the freeway. I mean, when you're like in the front seat of the car and you see the cop car like not give a fuck to the extent that he's now driving across the median to cut you off, you know you're in shit. and they pull us over, and at this point we're like, okay, we should probably do whatever they say at this point. And they pull us over, come up to the car, guns drawn. And come up to the car, and I'm in the front seat, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God. And the cop says to me, let me see some ID. And I like slowly reach for my pocket, and he cocks the gun in my face. And I'm just like, yeah, do you want the ID, or do you want me to have like my hands up? And that was the moment that I was scared shitless. And the aftermath was basically my friend was sat in the back seat, and he was like, contended that we had done nothing wrong, and says to him, but what did we do wrong? As the gun's pointed at my face, my friend has the gall to say, but we didn't do anything wrong. What did we do wrong? And I'm like, can you just shut up until like the guns are put away? And so they take us back to the police station. They search through the car. At one point, they found the bag of beer that we had dumped. A neighbor reported it. Very unfortunate. Is the biggest laugh I've gotten of the night. Over the tongue, okay? A neighbor had called and said that they came in and they said, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the movie Super Troopers, but they came in and the cop literally said, littering end, and we were all sitting there like, this can't be real. We were in this substation. It was like a trailer, and you couldn't take these cops seriously. And on top of all that, they didn't find the 1/4 ounce of pot that we still had in my backpack, which later my mom confiscated unbeknownst to me, and who knows what she did with that. But that was basically the gist of it, was having a gun pointed at my head and having the cop say, let me see some ID, and me not knowing, does he want the ID or does he want my head? So that's it. Thanks, guys.